Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this information session on the Master Specialization Business Studies. My name is Joost Visser, and I'm the manager of this specialization program. And I will present to you about this specialization today. So what will I be talking about, more or less? First of all, I will explain what is this specialization exactly, business studies, and then go into the question a little bit of why does business studies exist, for whom is this intended, what is the background of it. And then we dive in a little bit deeper into the program structure, talking about the courses, the different modules that exist, the internships, things like that. Then I will tell you about our teaching approach and everything associated to that. And finally, I will talk about the employment perspectives related to this specialization. And of course, in the end, there will be time for questions and answers. And you're welcome to already formulate your questions, type them, submit them into the chat during my presentation. And then in the end, we will pick them up and try to answer them as well as possible. So hope that you feed me some questions along the way. So, what is this business studies specialization? So, the business studies specialization is an elective program. That's where the name specialization comes from. So, it's not a full master because you take the specialization as a part of your master. So, it's open for master students at the Faculty of Science or the Medical School of Leiden University, of LUMC. And, you see the list of the various master programs of which the students are eligible for this business studies specialization. So what happens is in the second year of your master, in one of those disciplines, you will follow the business studies specialization as part of your elective space. And what happens there is that in this specialization, we complement the scientific education in your own discipline with all kinds of teachings about management, business, entrepreneurship, all of that in the context of science-based and technology-intensive businesses. That's what the objective of the program is all about. So why do we do this? What is the reason for this business studies specialization to exist? So, of course, many students that do a master will in the end not pursue a career in academia. Some do, they become PhD students, go on to teach and to do research in academia, but many of course instead go for a career in industry or in government. And what the business studies specialization does, it helps students become extra prepared, let's say, for that labor market. So it helps to acquire a broad set of competencies that you do not get in your scientific discipline, but that go on top of that, which gives you an edge when you want to enter the labor market. When you're looking for your first job, you will land it more easily, basically with this background. And of course, later in your career, you will still profit from it because you will have been made aware and made competent in using a toolbox of all kinds of managerial and entrepreneurial techniques that you can use to take up additional challenges within your working environment, which will give you a lot of leverage for growing your career later as well. So this is why the business studies specialization exists. So what do we offer? So basically, this is a network and case-based program on management, business and entrepreneurship, where we focus on science-driven companies and exploiting business opportunities created by research. So this is not just business studies in general, this is business studies for science, for operating on the intersection between the science and the way to commercialize it or use it in organizations in all kinds of ways. So, and this is something that is really sought after by lots of organizations because the complexity of problems that organizations deal with it gets greater and greater and increasingly requires staff that is proficient actually in advanced scientific methods that bring something along. And of course, science students, master students from science disciplines, you have analytical skills, you have problem-solving attitude, you know how to learn fast and independently, and also you can think creatively and channel your creativity according to structured methods. So that makes you very well suited for adding value to all kinds of organizations, to complex and science-driven and technology-driven organizations. But of course, you would be more valuable even with a couple of additional competencies. So what we try to do is to make you familiar not just with the world inside academia, in the ivory tower, so to speak, but make you familiar with the world outside of fundamental research. That's one of the objectives of the specialization. Also, to give you a lot of knowledge about key business functions. So every business has these functions, like marketing, operations, strategy, finance. These things are everywhere and are essential for creating, growing, expanding a business. So you will learn about that in depth. Also, you will get lots of skills in management, innovation, entrepreneurship, business development, etc., etc. Teamwork. Well, we will get to more things later as well. So this is why the specialization exists, to on top of your scientific basis build further to give you competencies to be really successful in a business environment. And this has two perspectives actually. So this interface between science and its applications in society, you can look at it from two angles. One of them is turning science into business. So we're talking technology transfer, for instance, right? So there is maybe fundamental research, and that can be turned into a commercial offering. Examples of organizations that do that, for instance, together with our students, are Janssen, Merck, Philips, companies like that. But on the other hand, there's also the other perspective, which is to apply scientific methods in business to improve the business functions for any type of business. And for instance, consultancy firms help with that, like Accenture and McKinsey, but also other organizations try to improve their business functions all the time by applying rigorous methods. For instance, tapping into available data by doing analytics or predictions and things like that. And this is also what you will be learning about, which gives it also relevance, not just for strictly technology-based firms, but actually much more broadly as well. So, having said that, giving you a background and the idea of what this specialization is all about, let's dive a little bit deeper and see what is it exactly that you will be doing. So what is the structure of the program that we are offering? So basically, roughly three pieces. First, there is the core courses, the courses that are offered to everyone that takes the specialization, and these address the core business functions that you need to know about. A little bit more about that in upcoming slide. Secondly, there's the part of the internships. Internships are very important and a key part of this specialization, where you will go into a company and there you will help them solve business problems using the toolkit of instruments that you have learned in the classroom. And there you will improve your skills and really put them to the test and develop them further. And finally, there's the part of the elective courses, where you can pick a number of courses to further deepen your knowledge based on your interests or the needs you feel for your future career development. I will go into all these pieces in a moment. Important to know, there's two intake moments for this specialization, in September and in February. The internship is a very important part. As I said, it's a gateway also for many of our students to then later on find their first jobs. And the electives allow you to dig deeper, follow your interest, follow your needs. So let's look at the core courses. Here they are listed, and as you can see, at least the first four address head-on the main functions that exist in every business. So for instance, strategy and technology, it's about positioning, about competitive advantage over competitors, and developing a plan, a high-level plan of using technology in the right direction and commercializing it in some shape or form. Then let's jump to operations management. That's how you do it then, and how you can optimize your production processes or your service delivery processes in all kinds of ways. Marketing science is, of course, about reaching your customers or accompanying your customers along their journey from one of your services or products to another, and maybe expanding the revenue you will receive from them over the lifetime that they are your customer. Then there is, of course, the financial part. You want to make a profit, so strategic financial management is also an important pillar, an important course in our program. And then finally, there's research methods. So, of course, you learn everything about research methods already in your main discipline. But here in this course, you get a couple of additional methods that have to do with how you actually perform research or use scientific methods within an organizational setting. So here, for instance, a couple of methods from the social sciences are quite relevant. How you can, for instance, interact with persons, how you can see how you can study and influence the behavior when it comes to marketing, things like that. But also you will use those methods in part also in your internship later. So these core courses here, they are listed again with their learning goals and outcomes, just to give you a better feeling for what's happening there. So for instance, what will you do in the strategy course? You will be formulating strategies to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. So you learn how to, look at the market, how to analyze the market, but then definitely also how to formulate a strategy to take advantage of your of the assets you have, the resources you have, the position you are in, and make a profit out of that at some point. Marketing is about optimizing the journey for your customers. Finance about making sure that at the short term, at the long term, your business is well funded and can keep going, continuity, but also make a good profit for your stakeholders or your shareholders. Operations is about, for instance, planning of your manufacturing processes, how to control any risks that are involved, how to keep quality at the right level, things like that. And finally, the research methods that I've already told you something about. So let's go to the next part, the internships. Very important part of our curriculum. So what are the objectives and the learning outcomes of the internship? So first of all, by doing an internship, you will deepen your understanding of everything you have learned basically in the classroom. So all kinds of business aspects, management aspects that you have learned about, there you get to put them to use. So typically in a internship, you will be starting with a couple of, well delineated tasks that they define for you, and you pick them up and you solve them. But then you will progress to doing an independent piece of work, solving an issue for your host organization, interacting with the people around you, and really developing, for instance, a market plan or a market analysis or a piece of strategy, or you name it, and helping them augment their business. So there you will synthesize some study where you use science to basically study a management issue to create value for the business you are in. So what this helps you with is that you will obtain a lot of knowledge. So first of all, you will get knowledge, of course, of the company in which you are, right? So that's in the middle, the organization knowledge. You will understand how this organization functions, what its departments are, how the roles and responsibilities are divided, and get really a good feeling for how things work in practice in industry. But then you will also have a wider view. By operating in an organization like that, you will learn about its competitors, its market, so you will learn about the industry in which this organization operates. And then also, by focusing on certain issues like portfolio management or business analytics, or what the role you might be in your internship, you will specifically learn about specific management aspects as well. You will gain lots of competencies on the managerial level, interpersonal level. How do you deal with all those people? Communication, how do you communicate within an environment like that? And of course, teamwork, because you will not be working isolated. You will be working within a team, collaborating with them and doing your internship. But also more, let's say, focused and well-defined, you will apply and learn more about your research competencies, your analytical skills, and your problem-solving skills. And finally, on, let's say, the soft skills side, you will learn to be proactive, flexible, open-minded, vigilant, things that are expected from you in a business environment. And you get to practice with that in your internship, and it's a great experience that is highly valued by all our students. So yeah, new skills. You may develop further to become subject matter expert in some kind of particular domain. It prepares you for your later career choices. You know better what you want and what kind of role you would like to operate, what kind of organization you would like to be, or whether perhaps you would like to set up your own business. And many students find their first job at their host organization of their internship because, well, the internship is successful. They like you, and things go from there. And here there's a little statistics about how these internships are valued by our students, and they're basically the largest. How much is it? A very large percentage agrees or strongly agrees with the value that this internship offers them for advancing their career later on. To make it a little bit more tangible, here's a couple of examples of students that have done internships before, and you can see here the versatility or the diversity that exists there. So, for instance, Jorn did portfolio management in Switzerland. He did an international. He went abroad for his internship, which is also a possibility. Then Chantal, she was a business analyst at bol.com, so in the retail domain. Consultancy done by Nadia as a business analyst at Accenture. So a lot of variability, a lot of interesting roles in which you can do your internship and learn a lot and have a great experience abroad or in the Netherlands, as you please. Then let's turn to the next part, the electives, with which you can deepen your knowledge even further. So this is the list of electives that are pre-selected for you, from which you can choose, and they are chosen in such a way that there will not be scheduling conflicts, so you can always take these. And there's you have to, of course, dive into the descriptions of these courses to make your own choice. But just to give you an impression of the possibilities or some idea, let's have a quick look. So, for instance, if you like to deepen your knowledge and your competency in the area of entrepreneurship, you might take the course Entrepreneurship, which is offered as an elective, but for instance also financing technology ventures. So in entrepreneurship, you will be, for instance, working on a business model, or you will be working on how to pitch, things like that, skills that are associated with entrepreneurship, and doing that in as teams. It's a very interesting and very nice course that we offer in collaboration with Plant. Plant is the Leiden Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. But then there's also this financing technology ventures, and in this course you will learn how to actually convince somebody to fund your business. So you'll be practicing, and you will be taught to create a very strong business case, not so much for yourself, but for an investor in your organization. For instance, if you have a startup, but also if you need additional funding for a scale-up or other types of ventures. This is a highly valuable course where you really learn how to make a solid financial case for offering to potential investors investing in your business on a solid basis that you provide to them. But for instance, if you're not so much into entrepreneurship, but for instance, you say, hey, finance is really my thing, I want to dive deeper into the financial aspect of businesses, then you might combine this financing technology ventures, for instance, with the accounting elective, where you will learn a lot more about financial matters. Or if you say, hey, there's a lot of AI going on at the moment, artificial intelligence interests me, and I see this as a very important development for the future. And I want to learn more about that and how this can be leveraged in businesses. Then we have, for instance, these two electives for you. So AI for strategy is about taking AI techniques and using them to synthesize your strategy. So you might use it, for instance, for data analysis about markets or clients or things like that. Or you might use it for doing technology forecasting, things like that. So these are the things that you will be taught about in AI for strategy. And then there's machine learning for business analytics, where you will using machine learning techniques to crunch data, for instance, about the churn of your customers or the process data of a manufacturing process, and use machine learning techniques to optimize these processes, for instance. This is just an example of how you can kind of guide your choice into these electives based on your interests. All right, so much about program structure. Let's go a little bit into, what is the experience like to be studying in this program. So first of all, our teaching approach. So this is a very strongly case-based teaching approach by international thought leaders and highly rated adjunct faculty from industry and guest lecturers from international business schools. So we actually, the case-based means it's very interactive and very hands-on, where you really do not just get the theory, but really make things, get to the bottom of things in these cases. The adjunct faculty, for instance, from industry, we like to have for a lot of our courses people coming in that are not only teachers or researchers in the university, but actually have experience or are currently working in industry in all kinds of roles and bringing their experience into the classroom to share with you. And then, of course, for certain business topics, we like to get people from international business schools to lecture and to give you everything there is to learn, for instance, about strategy. So this is our teaching approach. And the engagement with industry is a very important part there. So, of course, that happens in different ways. Bringing industry into the classroom through guest lectures, for instance, but also going outside the classroom into industry through the internships that I described, but also via network events, via company visits. And these visits can be at the Leiden Biocenter Park, which is all around us, and where there's a lot of business activity going on. A nice environment to be surrounded with when you do this specialization, but also beyond Leiden, of course, to other areas. So we really make sure that this connection to industry is there. There's also, on top of that, some extracurricular activities, some things that are outside the program, but of course associated with it. And I have put up here two of them, which I would like to mention to you. So one of them is Plant Students. So Plant I mentioned before, the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And within Plant, there is the Students Association, Plant Students, that organizes all kinds of activities for students that are, I think they call it curious. That's it. It's curious to entrepreneurship. So if you want to learn about entrepreneurship and innovation, they have all kinds of interesting activities for you where you meet like-minded people and you can discover whether entrepreneurship might be something for you, or actually go as far as start your entrepreneurial journey there with Plant, with the support that exists there. Then there is the Science Meets Business organization, which is an association that was actually founded by alumni from this program. And they founded it to create interaction between the businesses around us and the students. So they organize, for instance, cafes every month where you can meet and talk to people and listen to interesting talks about the businesses around here, and maybe, for instance, meet somebody that is interested in offering you an internship later. which is always a great idea. So highly recommended to also participate in those activities. Then finally, let's go into the employment perspectives. So yeah, what do people do after this program? So here you have the statistics by job category of our alumni, and you see that it's a high diversity. There's a lot of different places people have gone to. Consultancy, clinical trial management, quality and regulatory offices, things like that. So entrepreneurship, so lots of differences. But let's make it a little bit more tangible with a couple of examples. So here we have some alumni and the places where they went. So as an example, Anna Lee, biopharmaceutical scientist, went into the regulatory department of L'Oréal. So doing quality control, risk management, and things like that. As another example, Chantal from chemistry and business studies, she went into consulting for Bain & Company, a very large international consultancy company. Probably from there, doing consultancy for the chemical industry, one would imagine. For instance, Michel from physics went into finance and actually did that at the Ministry of Finance. So a lot of diversity and examples of the places where people went. And some of alumni are actually very entrepreneurial in spirit. So also we are very proud that many of our alumni have taken the step to become entrepreneurs and have started businesses while studying or right after studying with us. On our website, actually, there's a longer list, but here you see a couple of examples of people that have had the inspiration and felt confident with the toolbox that we gave them to start their entrepreneurial journey and became successful with it. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. So I hope that in the meantime you have thought of some questions. Maybe you've already typed them in to the chat, and they will be coming to me in a moment. But if you have questions after this session, for instance, I invite you, of course, to dive into the e-prospectus where you can read about all the courses and all the parts of the program, or visit our website. And if that's not enough for you, if the information there doesn't answer your questions, feel free to send us an email with your question, and we'll try our best to answer that. And that brings me to the end of the presentation part. And if there's any questions, I would love to hear about them. So take a moment to type them in. I don't see any questions appearing yet. So let's wait for a moment. Maybe at least one thing I can mention in the meantime. I mentioned the internships. One of the questions I got in a previous session was whether we offer any support in finding an internship. And we do that actually. I already mentioned that some people went abroad, for instance. So the International Office of the Science Faculty supports in that, finding internships for you abroad, but also helping you with all the paperwork and other practical matters for relocation and things like that. Of course, we have a network of organizations that have already received interns in the past, which you can tap into. These tend to send us internship opportunities that we post to you while you are in our program, so you can take them up and find your internships fairly easily. Still no further questions, so then I think it's time for the weekend, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.